This lesson we're going to be looking at slicers. So that's a new feature under data, and under the data tab you've got an option for slicer. So what slicers do is they allow us another way to filter content and make it more interactive. So if we do create a chart, and let's go ahead and we're going to create a chart from the data that I've selected, and then within the chart we're going to update the slicer. I'm going to make this into a pie chart. So let's edit the chart and update the chart type, setting it as a pie chart, and then we can close it. So now what we want to do is we want to enter in and add in a slicer for the data. So let's add in the slicer and select the data that we want to use for the slicer. So the data is going to be the same data range that we had just used for the chart, and that's also one of the suggested ranges. So let's hit OK on that, and we can close down the slicer. And slicers, just like the charts, they go across multiple cells, so we can drag it and we can move it. So once we select the slicer, this is going to give us an option to filter. So we can apply different filter conditions, and we can also select all of the values that we want to filter. We can clear the values and select the values individually that we want to use. Once we hit OK, that's also going to update the chart content. So right now we're only going to be using the selected data that we've selected into the chart. And this allows us another way to create our content and make it a lot more interactive. So we can also select and just filter by various conditions. So we make sure that it's not empty. And this is also updating the view that we're seeing, just as we saw with the filters. So right now, by applying the slice, we've sliced out the selected content values that we're using in this. So by double clicking the slice, this is where I can reselect different values. We can customize the data in the slice with the title, and I'll call it sliced chart. So here we can set different font types, font sizes, font styles, backgrounds. So to customize the way that the slice icon looks like, and then under the data we can also update the slice content. So here we're still selecting the sheet data from E2 to E11. We can always update that range if we do need to by the slice, by double clicking it, and that's going to open up the slicer window. So we can apply that and update it as needed. We also have various columns that we can select within the slice, and right now we're only just using the one column, so that's the only option that we have there. So now going back down to the slice, we've updated the font there. We can clear all of the values, and then we can select the values that we want to use within the slice. Once we've made a selection of the various rows of data, we hit OK. That's going to adjust what the view area is. And the view area also is going to be adjusting the chart that we're outputting. So now we've selected these rows to be represented within the chart values. The slicer, and if you want to get rid of it, you can just press the delete key or the backspace on your keyboard, or from the three dots on the slicer, you can edit the slicer, copy the slicer, you can delete the slicer, you can set the current filters as a default, and there's even more information if you want to find out more about the slicer available under the Learn More. So let's go ahead and we're going to delete the slicer. And once we delete the slicer, that's going to remove the sliced content and bring our chart back to the way that it was originally, using all of the selected data without the slice.